Welcome back to Gamer-0. I'm your host T Hill. Topic of the night. This is my review for Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 2. So I've been playing the game every single day since it came out, religiously, like 4 or 5 hours a night. You know, I work, so I gotta find time with everything else on my schedule. But the game, I finished it like 1 o'clock last night. The game is sick. The game is a love letter from Cyberconnect 2 to the fans of the series. If you haven't followed the manga, the anime, you might feel a little lost with the characters and what's going on at the start. But over the course of the title, they really, they put everything. There's enough flashbacks and references to what's going on in the past that will pull you into it. For people who haven't followed the series, it's about an aspiring ninja who wants to become the head of his ninja village. That's Naruto, and he has a connection with his fellow ninjas, especially a bond with like a Rin, or I forgot what they're called. Kind of like a fallen ninja, one that leaves the village and kind of is a traitor but not really traitor, and that's Sasuke. He has a connection because they both have a really similar upbringing, but just stuff has pulled them in separate directions. But Naruto, the main protagonist, is connected to him and won't let that friendship die, regardless of what's going on. So I don't want to ruin story. It does capture from the beginning of the Shippuden series all the way up to the end of the Pain arc. There is some stuff with after you beat the game, you can unlock Killer Bee, but that's like, so it takes you to a little bit past the B arc, where Sasuke takes on Killer Bee. But they did Cyberconnect 2 did a fine job cramming all those years of manga and anime into a game. And there's some soft spots where like Kakashi versus Pain in the manga, how dramatic it is when the fight ends and what happens at the end of the fight. I won't ruin it. If you guys don't know, go check it out. You can go to mangastream.com and look at the episodes. So there were some soft spots, but they really did a fine job with the key points in the game, capturing those experiences. And a lot of it's quick time events, but you have button prompts and stuff, but you can go back later on and purchase those scenes and watch them just for that. The story is just really well done. You believe the characters' problems, and there's parts where, if you've been following it and the series and what happens, really pull on the heartstrings, and you feel sad or you feel excited. It's really a hard time for Naruto in his life, and the story captures it. Just gonna jump into the gameplay. Part 2 is a lot stronger combat-wise than Part 1 was. Using your support characters is a lot more useful. Before, they felt like kind of like a backdrop, like they're just like an extension of an attack. But now, you can switch it from attack or defense, and say you're in a fight and you're getting your ass handed to you. One of them, your defense one, will jump out and block for you, and you don't have to. That's not using up an attack or anything. It's just right there to defend you. And then with combos, like, you could be just whooping into someone, and then the way you transition, if you use your support characters at the right times, they'll lead into the combo, and it will give you this really cool cinematic type of experience with the combo. Plus, so the support characters really has a lot more depth to it than it did in Part 1. Also, yes, people are going to say, well, there's one button for attack. There's like 2. But the thing is, the way you shift, and from using like your shuriken, or your secondary weapon, whatever it may be, and using your chakra and then using your attack and jump, switching between those 4 face buttons can vary the attack. Yeah, you can button mash through it, and that's because that's kind of the experience that Cyberconnect wanted for their gamers. They wanted anyone to be able to pick it up and play. But for someone who's willing to take time to learn the fine points of the fighting mechanics, you can really just dominate. And yeah, like I was playing a part where I had to go back through fighting Kakashi later on in the game at Mount Moyabuku. I don't remember what the name of it is, but he handed my axe to me, and it was just great mechanics. That the depth of the combat was way better, so I had to step up my game. But it's simple things like really waiting for timing, and what move you're going to use at what point. Are you going to jump in and use support characters? It never, in part 1, it felt like you only had you could only carry in 1 regular attack, 1 special attack, and 1 super attack, or ultimate attack. This doesn't feel that way. They incorporated those special super attacks into your combat, into your combos, which is really nice and makes it feel like you have a larger variety of attacks. The only thing that I have to say is a downer that they didn't incorporate from part 1, or at least I haven't seen anywhere on the game with my playthrough, and I haven't seen on the internet anyone saying about this. Part 1 did allow you to, say you unlock Two-Tail Naruto. You could play with him from the start of the match all the way through. You didn't have to get beaten up and then go into awakening mode. Part 2 doesn't seem to have that. I really hope in DLC that this is a feature, because one of the cool things about it is, those are the awesome fights that you had to do in part 1 to unlock them. You have to just really fight, and it's hard, and it really pushed your skill sets. And when you got one person playing with, say, Cursil 2 Sasuke versus Two-Tail Naruto, and they're going at it, that shit was tight. It looked cool. It was fun as hell. It was fast and just pow, you're getting in it. Part 2 doesn't have that, but once you do Awakening, it's sick. But the thing is you're pretty much, it's a last resort type of feature. I mean, or you could use that as a combat technique, like a strategy in your fight. Like, okay, you whittle me down, I know exactly what I'm doing, and jump right into it. But it would be a feature I would have liked to see. The actual Konoha, the village, part 1 allowed you free roam, but it was just the village, and everything else was like flashbacks. Part 2 really allows you to go other places and see other sites, which is nice. The village does feel a lot smaller in world, and I think the vision that they're going for was more of a controlled cinematic type of feel instead of a just run everywhere, do anything. Me personally, it's good. It's okay. I would have personally said, hey, Cyberconnect 2, give me the full Konoha, and give me the outside worlds as well. To me, that mixes both worlds, so that way you get the full hub city, and you get the outside experience as well. The one reason why I say that they should have kept the open world is, even though they went for the more cinematic feel, they added, they wanted the city to feel alive, so they added all these people walking around, but they really didn't add it. If you really think about it, it didn't add more people to that, because a lot of them you can't talk to, and they're just on autopilot with their walking, their mannerisms, either they're sitting in the same spot. You can't talk to them. Yes, and if you're just running through and running back and forth, it does feel like it's more alive. I would have liked to see more, a larger world with more characters. Even if you can't talk to them, just having them running around, being around, would have made it feel more worldly, just more immersive in the world. I liked some of the things that you could do with the world before, getting the scrolls and stuff. It was a challenge. I'm not gonna lie, those were a challenge. Another thing that they took away from part 1 that wasn't in part 2 was, and some people were like, oh god, that was horrible. Well, it was overplayed in part 1, and what I'm saying is either the tree climbing or the jumping from tree to tree to tree to get to your next location. That's not in part 2 at all. I would have liked to see it, maybe not used as much as it was in part 1, but it would have been, nice to sprinkle that out throughout the title. Maybe for some cinematic gameplay experiences. So there are some features that didn't seem to be in part 2. And I know they were covering a huge amount of story. Another thing about those story events is that they're more in the sense, but they're not as dramatic as part 1's were. Part 1 had huge fights that just felt really like, whoa, shit, I'm actually in this experience that's in the anime. Maybe it's the series, the time period, but it just didn't feel like there was a lot of those moments. I mean, the fight, don't get me wrong, the experiences that you get, the cinematics and the quick time events are mind-blowing, but they just didn't feel as large a scale. That being said, they're sick. There are some sick fights. Sasano, and then just some of the attacks that you see are sick. If you follow the anime, you'll know what I'm talking about. Replayability, there's tons of stuff to go back to this title. I haven't even covered half of the stuff, not even half. I still have to unlock the 4th Hokage, Killer Bee, Taka, Sasuke. There's one other person I gotta get. Lars. So there's 4 characters at the end of the title you haven't even unlocked. There's weapons you can get. There are, tons of stuff to go back for. Trophies, if you're a trophies expert, 100%er stuff. There's tons of content after you beat the game that is just there for you to go through. So you can easily get 30 to 40 hours just out of your playthrough. Then there's the whole online experience. I've yet to get online because, I was up until 1 o'clock and I've been seriously just pounding away at the story. But then there's the replay of the online that's there. So all in all, this game has a lot. It is a really strong title. I got to give it a score, and I'm going to say, if I have to go 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5, I'm going to say it's a 4 out of 5. Reason why is there's stuff that should have been in there that were in part 1 that they took away. It is still an extremely strong title. If you're a Naruto fan, get this game. It will be a 5 for you. If you're just a love of fighting games, this will be, you could rate this around a 3 out of 5. If you're looking for Street Fighter, Tekken, Soul Calibur kind of depth, you're not gonna find that here. So that's why I say it's a 3 out of 5 if you're that type of gamer. But if you just like good games that get lots of replay value, and you can play online, it has tons of content for you, and you like anime and you like Naruto, this could be a 5 out of 5. For me, it's about a 4 out of 5 because I am a Naruto enthusiast. I do like the series, but it felt like there were certain things for variety of gameplay that were missing. All in all, it is a phenomenal game. Go get it. That's a 4 out of 5 if you didn't hear me. That's all I got for tonight. Well, I'm T Hill. This is the Gamer-0 channel. You can always follow me on hiphopgamershow.com. On Twitter, it's T_Hill0. Or you can send me a friend request and play with me on PSN. It's T-Hill. Alright? That's all I got for tonight. This is T Hill. I'm out. Peace.